In the name of Allah, the most gracious. In this tutorial, we are going to learn about some of the basics in Blender. So before we start, please like and share and subscribe and comment. And let's start ala barakatillah. First of all, this is the interface of our Blender and this is the cube. How to control the camera? Just click on the scroll wheel to rotate. Then you can press on this hand and move like you like. And also you can zoom in and zoom out with your scroll wheel. Here you have the objects in your scene. This is the name of this thing, and here is a scene. So clicking on the camera, we can just choose the camera. And we are going to learn about this in a future tutorial. What we can also do is we can move it by pressing G. Instead of moving it and rotating it and scaling it from here, we can press G to move it and Ctrl Z to undo it. We can also press R to rotate it, and also we can press S to scale it. Okay, if I want to scale it just in a one axis, I wish you know what is X and Y and Z. If you don't know this, I'm going to tell you what is this in a fast way. I'm not going to go in the details. I wish you know these things. X is the horizontal, Y is the vertical, and Z is front and back. But in Blender, for some reason, Z is up and down. Z is the vertical. Okay, for some reason, I don't know why. Now, what we can do is, if I want to move it in the x-axis, which is in this case the red line, move it or scale it, I can press S to scale and press X to scale it in the x-axis. See, I'm scaling it just in the x-axis. We can also press S or the G or the R to rotate and move, and press Z to move it to scale it just in the Z axis. We can also press S or any key you want, like R and G, to rotate and move, and press Y to scale it in the Y axis. And these things also for moving and rotating. So I'm moving it now, pressing X, moving it in just the X axis. Okay, if I want to move it in two axes, but just I don't want to move it just in one of these axes, what should I do? I can just like scaling it, or not scaling, I will move it, moving it, pressing G to move, and then Shift Z. So what did I do now? I pressed Shift Z, and now I can move it in both X and Y axis, but I can't move it in Z axis. So now I can move it like this, but up and down I can't move, because Z axis is the vertical. So now I'm gonna undo that. And two more things I want to talk about. First of all is duplicating objects. So objects is the things in the scene in here. I want to duplicate this cube, so I'll press on this cube and Shift and D, and now if I move my cursor, I'm gonna find that I have another cube because I duplicated this cube. So if I pressed Shift and D and pressed X, I will move it just in the X-axis, and I have duplicated this cube. And one more thing I want to talk about is how to add an object to my scene. I can press Shift and A to open this add thing in here. And I'm just going to talk about meshes. Mesh is the object that you see. This is a mesh. So I can add a circle mesh, and the circle mesh have been added in the center of the scene. So if I move that, and I'm gonna find a circle in here, see? But this is not a mesh. This is not a mesh really, because you can see the thing in here, and we are going to learn about these meshes in the future. I don't want to add this. I meant to add a sphere, but I added a circle by mistake. So I'm gonna Shift and A and go to the mesh and add a UV sphere. So now if I moved this in the x-axis, I can see my sphere. You can see that there's a little small squares in here, but this sphere is made from squares. I can show you a cool thing now. Shift and A, mesh and UV sphere, and going to here and pressing 0 at this, enter, you can see that the shape have been changed, and we're going to learn about this more in the future. And we can put 0 in here. The smallest number we can put is 3, so that's why 3 have been added in here. So if I made 100, I can see that squares are smaller now and they are more rectangular than squares. So this thing we are going to learn it in the future, but I'd like to show you this thing. So this is some of the basics. We learned the control, we learned how to duplicate, how to move, and even how to scale and rotate objects. And we learned about some things in the interface of Blender. One more thing I want to say is just the same thing. When you press Shift and A is the add, and you have here an add also button, so you can press add and add things from here. So I wish you liked this tutorial. If you like it, don't forget to like and share and subscribe, and also comment. And if you didn't like it, just share it, someone will like it. So see you in the next video.